Good morning, students. Today's class is about class 12, an elementary school classroom in a slum. An elementary classroom in a slum school. We can say that. An elementary school classroom in a slum by Stephen Spender. Far from gusty waves, these children's faces like rootless weeds, their hair torn round their pallor. This is the first stanza of the poem, The Tall Girl with a Weighed Down Head, the paper-seeming boy with the rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones reciting a father's gnarled disease's lesson from his desk. At the back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in a tree room other than this. The first stanza of the poem describes the elementary classroom in a slum where the slum children are there. Now the poet begins with the description that far from gusty waves, these children's faces are quite far from these fast blowing winds, these gusty waves. And moreover, these children's faces are like rootless weeds. These children are like rootless weeds. They are unwanted children. They're not wanted, so they are weeds like that grow in the gardens and that are chopped afterwards. And the hair torn round their pallor. Their hair are scattered on their paleness, on their pale faces. So pallor means paleness. The tall girl, the first child is the tall girl with her weighed down head. The first child is the tall girl whose head is weighed down. Why her head is down? Weighed down because of poverty, because of struggles, because of perils. And the first child is tall girl with her weighed down head. The second child, paper seeming boy with the rat's eyes. Paper seeming boy. Paper seeming boy. That means thin boy with rat's eyes. Why rat's eyes? Because he is very, very hungry. And the third child, the stunted, unlucky heir. The stunted, the deformed, twisted, unlucky heir. Unlucky heir. Heir means the receiver, the recipient of what? Of diseases. So he's an unlucky heir of twisted bones. His bones are quite twisted. And he's reciting his father's gnarled disease. He's reciting his father's tale, his father's diseased tale, where the father suffered from the disease and now the disease has been passed to the next generation, that is this child. So he's carrying forth, singing a song of his father's disease and taking his lesson from his desk. Then the fourth child is there. At the back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young child. His eyes are like a dreamer's eyes. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in a tree room. Other than this, so other than these three children, there was a dreamer, a dreamy child who was dreaming of some squirrel's game, as the squirrels that play in the tree rooms, the holes where they live and they go inside and come out and do a lot of activity. So the eyes seemed quite dreamy. Moving on to the next stanza. On sour cream walls, donations. The walls of this slum school, there were donations. And the walls were quite cream. Cream means the yellowish, unpleasant color. The unpleasant yellow color of the walls, which cannot be called as white or ivory shade. So, and there were donations. What type of donations? Pictures, calendars, or some maps like that. So Shakespeare's head, the first donation that has been discussed by the poet is Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn. The backdrop of the Shakespeare's picture, which is only head part, which is only the upper part, has a backdrop of dawn, of morning. That means the backdrop of the picture, or the picture is symbolizing much. But in the real lives of the children, there is no such thing. There is no morning, there is no beauty, there is no Shakespeare, there is no literature, there is no learning. And Shakespeare's head cloudless at dawn. Civilized dome riding all cities. There are other pictures that are symbolizing civilization, progress, performance, pictures of growth of civilization. Maybe some buildings that are showing that there have been progress, but there's no progress in the lives of these children. And there is a picture of belled flowery Trialese Valley, the next thing in the form of donated picture or calendar or a scenery or something like that. Belled flowers of Trialese Valley of Austria. This valley is known for its beauty, scenic beauty of Austria. So it is there, an open-handed map. One very important thing is one rough map, open-handed, free map, which is awarding the world is its world. The map is enough capable, enough sufficient to present the world, its world. But where is the world of slum children? There is no world. In this particular map, which has been hung on the sour cream walls, there was no slum being marked. How can it be? So open-handed map awarding the world its world. And yet for these children, these windows. And yet for these children, these windows. And not this map is their world, where all their future is nothing but a painting of fog. Bleak world is theirs. What has come in their share is a bleak, dark world. So moving further, a narrow street they live in, and moreover their sky is lead. So the line is a narrow street, sealed in, packed in, confined in with a lead sky, with a dark sky, far from rivers, far from highlands, capes, and stars of words. Stars of words here means literature. Far from learning, far from growing. Another word for learning is growing. So surely Shakespeare is wicked. We are moving on to the third stanza. Surely Shakespeare is wicked. The map is a bad example with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. Surely, the poet says, Stephen Spender says that Shakespeare here is quite wicked. And the map is also not a good example. It is a very poor example with ships, because all these things are depicting the beauty of the world, the progress of the world. But where are these things in the lives of slum children? A big contrast, a big gap. And with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal, for lives that secretly turn in their cramped holes, for lives that have turned into cramped holes. Now, what are these cramped holes? Small hutments with a low ceiling, low roof, covered with a tarpaulin or a sheet of plastic to save them from the sun and the wind and all other problems. So, for lives that secretly turn, they are born in these holes, cramped holes, crumpled holes, crushed holes, and they die secretly there. Their life is nothing but from fog to endless night. Endless night here is death. So there's a question mark in this particular phrase. This interrogation the poet is asking, that is this the life from journey from fog to endless night, where is endless darkness? On the slag heap, these children wear skins peep through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass. And on the slag heaps, garbage heaps, these children live, and their skin, the skin that they have worn, peeps out. Where the bones peep out through their thin skin, that means malnourished. No nourishment has been given to them, or they have not received. What they have received is, we have discussed in the first stanza, twisted bones given by them as heirs and heiresses. So their skins, they wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass. What does this mean? The misery of life. Whatever they get at the garbage heaps, they wear. And they use it, whether it is a broken spectacle. In the slum classroom, all the children are not wearing the mended spectacles, but it symbolizes the misery, the pathos, the pathetic life that they are having. So moving on to the next line, with mended glass, like bottle bits on stones. Their lives are like bottle bits on stones. If you throw a bottle on a piece of a stone platform, a glass bottle, it will break, and the pieces would never be, you'll never be able to gather them and collect them or make the next bottle out of that. So their lives are like broken bottle bits on stones, on harsh circumstances. Broken lives are scattered as per Stephen Spender. Then all their time and space is nothing but a foggy slum. So blot their maps, he asks us. So blot their maps with slums, like slums which are dooms and nothing else. Dooms are ruins that again tell us decaying, destroying, and moreover, the stinking, you can say, and they live in those holes which are nothing but ruins, but damage which can be called as physical, mental, emotional, psychological, all sorts of damages. And that's why he calls the word, the slums, as dooms. That means ruins. So slums as dooms, and doom is here the ruins. The figurative meaning of slum here is doom, and dooms here means ruins. All these are synonyms, ruins, right? Now moving on to the last stanza, which gives some ray of hope. What is that hope? Unless governor, inspector, or visitor comes, this map becomes their window. Until and unless some governor, some authority comes, or some collector or some visitor comes and does something good for them, some growth, some development, some program for them, this map is their window. And these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs, they shut upon them. These windows are nothing but shutting their lives, and they shut upon them like graves, like catacombs, which have an entry but no exit. So dooms have entry, but no exits. Graves have entries, but no exits. So those galleries of graveyards, where there is an entry, but no exit. So he says to the readers in the last lines, break, oh break, readers, or the general people break till they break down. So you break the barriers that they are bearing forth, or they'll carry forth till they break. Take them, show the green, show the children the green fields, and make their world run azure. What is this word azure? Azure here means the shade of the blue sky. Let their eyes run blue. Okay, so this azure is the blue shade of the sky, blue sky. It symbolizes blue sky. Maybe their lives are on deserts. Maybe their feet are treading on struggles, but give them a blue sky. Under the blue sky, they need this freedom. They need this running. Their need of the hour is to run with freedom. Let them run azure under the azure sky on the golden sands. Why golden? Maybe the desert is there under their feet. Maybe their feet are troubled, but still give them freedom to run. And let their tongues run naked into books. Give them books where they can do reading. So their eyes must run naked into books, white and green. Make their lives colorful, where they must have all the fragrance and variety, varied, myriad hues and fragrances of life. And open a world where they are free to learn, to run, to grow, to eat, to drink, to nourish themselves, to flourish in a positive way, where history theirs, whose language is the sun. So the last line is very, very beautiful. Let them make their own history, and where their language is sun. Sun is here the symbol of knowledge, and above all knowledge and wisdom. So give these slum children this knowledge and wisdom. Thank you, children.